So thank you again, everyone, for being here this morning. Thank you to all our finalists here, as well as all our judges and attendees as well. Continue on here. So just to begin, this is the final day of the Saunders Business Analytics competition. And first and foremost, we want to give a special thanks to a few groups here. And first, the Dean's Office, and then the judges of the first round. So special thanks to Professor Vic Parati, Professor Bowie, Professor Tang, and as well as Professor Keith Weber, who I saw in our attendees list as well. So thank you for attending again, Professor Weber. And finally, all our participants as well. Originally, we had over 120 participants in the initial round from 9 different submissions from all 4 of our campuses. And we want to just give thank you to all those participants and our 4 teams today who made it to the final round. So kudos to everyone, and glad we can make it here this morning. And just a little bit about myself. I am upcoming president of Saunders Business and Technology Professionals organization. And for all our finalists here or any attendees in the chat who would like to join our campus groups, sign up and just attend our meetings, which will start obviously in the fall. You can scan the QR code here or join the link right here. I'll drop it in the chat later on as well, but I'll give it 5 seconds. And then if you'd like to join, we'd love you to come to our meetings this fall. So thank you, Professor Bowie, for allowing us to have this platform to get this out there as well. And now introducing the judges for the final. So if each judge could just say a little bit about themselves and go from starting with Mark Rausch here from Wegmans Food Markets.
Good morning, everyone. As it says here, I am the Director of Technical Services for Wegmans. I'm an ex-RIT graduate of the graduate school, and I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you, Mark. And Andrew?
Hi, good morning. My name is Andrew Ward. I'm a data engineer at L3 Harris on the enterprise analytics team. I'm also looking forward to seeing what all the Saunders students and analytics projects you guys are presenting today.
Thank you, Andrew. Mike?
Hey, good morning. Mike Della, Porta, Vice President of Business Operations and Technology at Butler. We're a marketing and communications agency, and I oversee our enterprise business intelligence folks and started our client service analytics division. I'm also an RIT grad, so looking forward to seeing you guys in action.
Thank you, Mike. Manlu Liu, Professor?
Hello, this is Professor Manu Liu. I'm the professor in both MIS and accounting, and I'm the director of Master in Business Analytics. I really look forward to hearing your presentation. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Professor. And last but definitely not least, Dr. Sean Hansen.
Hi, everybody. Sean Hansen, the department chair for MIS Marketing and Digital Business. I think I've probably run into some of you over the years, but I'm very excited to participate in today's event.
All right. Thank you, all 5 of our judges, for their introductions, and we look forward for you to give some feedback once all of these presentations are complete. So introducing our first team up here from our RIT China campus. So I'll briefly go through some introductions for the team before they begin their presentations. So first up, please apologies in advance if I do mispronounce your name. I'm doing my best here. Zhu Haoyang, a junior student at RIT Weihai campus, majoring in MIS. Next up, Chen Zhuang, also an MIS student, and he says, I like the direction of research and development MIS. So thank you to you guys for that. And I believe there's 3 more here. Fu Liruji, I'm a student at MIS, and I expect research and development direction to be a BA. Thank you. Wang Qinan, I'm from China as well. I'm familiar with Tableau and MySQL, and honored to meet my group mates and have learned a lot from this competition, which is great to hear. And finally, Rujing Jin, another MIS student interested in data analysis and consulting, and her technical skills include Python, SQL, and Tableau. So thank you to the 5 of you guys. And whenever you guys are ready, feel free to share your screen and take it away with your presentation.
Hello, everyone. We are the team from China Weihai campus. We're not a very professional business analyst team, so if you have any questions after listening to our presentation, please feel free to ask. So let's begin. In our analysis, we used mainly Tableau and Python, where we obtained a lot of information about the Rochester area from the website. And finally, we provided 3 options for new pharmacy locations. Now come to the first part. What are the key factors for the success of the pharmacies that already exist? To solve this problem, we first ranked all pharmacies in order of profit from highest to lowest. Then the zip code of the top pharmacies was selected and put into the Rochester map. We could easily find the commonality of these highly ranked pharmacies. They are all surrounded by hospitals, shopping malls, schools, and restaurants, which can bring huge traffic. So location is one of the key factors. Next, we have analyzed this issue in terms of data. It's easy to see that each pharmacy fills a different type of medicine. So we calculated the Pearson correlation confidence between the number of different types of goods sold and the total profit. The closer the Pearson correlation confidence is to 1, the stronger the correlation between the 2 elements. We can see from the table that the Pearson correlation confidence for food and beverages, OTC or AMS, is very close to 1. This means that filling these 2 types of products is also the key factor to get big profit. Next part will be provided by my teammates, fully ready.
Yes, through the data processing, we originally select the 3 store locations close to the product maps and which will be introduced after. And yeah, you can see in this Tableau dashboard is the distribution of the store and the cartridge sales and the total items. And yeah, in this part, I would like to introduce that our choice is to set up a new store. The reason is first, according to an analysis of the data, shows that the industry as a whole is in a decrease. So perhaps it is because of the growing healthcare system or because of the increasing number of pharmacies and the higher housing rents. So we had to re-establish a new store to improve our competitiveness. And in addition, there are many uncertainties and limitations to buy an already exciting performance. For example, we may be influenced by our promised revolution and the promised customer follow and review, which will affect our subsequent sales. And secondly, it is difficult for us to adjust our product mix and business schedules on this basis. Not only that, we may face some problems such as debate agreements and the same time, loss on suitable inventories of the stores we purchased could not be handled well. And last but not least, we have the opportunity to choose the location and the size of our new store if we set up it. And this is largely of the problems we mentioned earlier. Yeah, and the next part will be introduced by my teammate Jing Ruiying.
So I'll be introducing the location choice. We have 3 location choice for you, and I'm going to introduce the first one. The first location choice is around the Rochester General Hospital, zip code 14621. The circled area is where we recommend, near the Family Dollar Shopping Center. This area is predicted to have similar sales scales to our store, which will ensure the stable operation. The second reason is that there are shopping centers, hospitals, and schools that will attract basic number of customer flow. Next page. Okay. Then let's look at the demographic information of the area. It's a socioeconomically lower middle class block. Next page. So in this place, most stores don't sell food and beverages, so we might consider introduce food and beverage categories. Food has higher sales revenue and profit margins. Because of the economic condition here, we recommend to sell cheaper food and beverages product mix. Next page. So the first picture is the 3 categories in our product mix in this area. They are food and beverage, OTC, and personal hygiene. Take the local economic condition into account. We selected the most profitable product with affordable price into each category. So it is showed in the picture. And then Chen Xidong will introduce the second location choice.
Okay, then we show the second address we want to choose. We choose an area of zip code 14624, an area with good economic to set up a new store. Firstly, according to the stores with similar value of 500 items, as mentioned before, and according to the distribution map of vendors, the 2 graphs can be combined and analyzed so that the selection range can be divided. The triangle is the address where we want to choose the new store, and we hope to shorten the supply distance. The next page. In addition, we also hope to obtain a certain number of customers, so the address should be in an area with good economic conditions. So we choose the zip code 14624. As can be seen from the picture, in each area, the flow of people meets the needs of the stores, and the economic foundation is very good, and the transportation is convenient. Then there are the 5 products we plan in this area. The next page. We get that food, OTC, and personal categories have a significant impact on profit. Therefore, we select the item with the highest profit ranking from these 3 categories from the new product mix. Then the supplier shall select the supply conditions of the 3 category products. The next part is my partner, Wang Qinnan.
The last selection we choose is near the zip code of 14618. Please look at the picture we choose. There are schools, shopping malls, and hospitals. According to processed data, we found that there are large commercial blocks near the exist medical stores, which has the largest sales named Wegmans, and other stores with better sales are also surrounded with many malls and schools. It is known that the restaurants, schools, and shopping malls have brought a huge flow of people, and the permanent population is roughly estimated due to the research restrictions. Only population density icon can be found. The population density of this location is about 500 to 1,000 people. And the zip code 14618 is located in the state of New York in the Rochester metro area. And this location has a lower unemployment level. It's about 5.2%, which is higher than the current county unemployment level of 4.6%. So it may cost lower profits in this location. And the product mix is the same as the second selection we choose. So the optimal selection for us is the second place. That's all our presentation. Is there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Based on the data that you used, were you able to determine a projection of sales, let's say on a weekly, monthly, or annual basis for the location that you're recommending?
Could you please tell us which page you are referred to?
So I think to Mark's question, it's not so much a specific page. It's the idea that for the location of the 3 locations, I believe it was the one close to Rochester General Hospital, you had a recommendation for the top location. The question is, were you able to project going forward what the sales pattern might be in that at any of the 3 locations?
Okay, actually we did not
Is
do
that fair,
a
Mark?
projection.
That's fair, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we did not do a projection. What we do is based on the current revenue and assume it will remain constant. So we make our decision.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Andrew. I've got a question as well. Where'd you guys get your data set?
Professor Bui gave us the initial data set and we processed it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
So everyone should, the central data set will be the same across all of the teams, but additional data, for example, on demographics is separate.
Okay, thanks.
I had a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Mike, were you about to ask something?
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to see slide 10 again, and then Sean, feel free to ask your question. I just wanted to take a look at that one more time. Could you go to slide 10, please? Thank you.
So actually, if you could stay on that slide. So the 500 product mix, and my understanding of the data set as a BAC client, is that we don't have details on individual products. We only have details on product categories. So I guess my question is, in terms of representing individual products, since we don't know what those products are, actually, let me put the question to you. When you look at this histogram, what does it tell you? What does this histogram or this visualization drive you to conclude?
Yeah, I see your question. I see your point, because what the data set we got is only have the item number, so we do not have the name of each item. So it's the only thing we can present on this graph is the number. So we just list the number onto the picture.
Got it.
And yeah.
Sean, this is the data set we provided?
Right, right.
Okay, so let me, if I may, excuse me, if I may, let me explain to the other judges. Wegmans Food Markets provided to RIT a data
Oh,
set.
no, that, I'm sorry, Mark, that is not the same data set, unless I'm mistaken.
Nope, that's fine, then I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So I know the team has several weeks to work on these scenarios data. So let's say if you have a longer time, like 1 or 2 months more, what kind of things or data analysis you would like to pursue further?
I think we should pay more attention to the location we choose. You'll say that we choose the 3 locations for our alternative, but I can't give more details about why we choose this location. Just as the stores nearby the location and the people and the amount of the people lives in the location. So we want to make more details and information in the location choice.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for our first team here?
Good for me.
No? All right, sounds
Thank you,
good.
team, by the way. Thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Quick round of applause, even with your audio off. I don't see the reactions for the emojis out on my Zoom bar, so.
Yeah, I don't think we have our little visual
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah,
tabs.
it's fine. Real claps are better, right? All right, let me reshare my screen so we can introduce the next team here, and we will be on our way for another presentation. So let's bring it up. All right. So introducing our second team here from our Kosovo campus. First is Dren Gara. Dren is from Pristina, is a sophomore at RIT Kosovo campus. He works as a junior BI consultant at Analytics. He is extremely enthusiastic about data analysis, AI, and Power Platform. When he's not working, he enjoys cinema, chess, and photography. A man of all trades here. Thank you, Dren. And his teammates, first, Fardin Hassan. He is a 4th year electrical engineering student at RIT Dubai, currently working as a machine learning researcher. And unlike Dren, he is only mildly enthusiastic about data analysis, AI, and Power Platform. That is great, I love that. And finally, Harshi Kumar. He's a senior at RIT Dubai, majoring in computing to security, and works as a VAPT PT professional. He enjoys b-boying and considers himself a hip-hop connoisseur. Thank you to your team, and I believe that is all 3 of your members. So whenever you guys are ready, please feel free to share your presentation.
Okay, so can Ferdinand do that?
Is my screen visible right now?
Yep,
It's coming up. Yeah.
Coming up slowly, but
Desktop, right? Like a black desktop.
Desktop. Yeah, we're seeing the desktop.
yeah.
The presentation visible now?
Yep, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can start. Wait, just give me a sec. All right.
Okay, so good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Drangara, and today, along with my teammates Fardin Hassan and Harshit Kumar, we'll make the case for what we believe contributes to the success of existing pharmacies and predicts the future success of pharmacies in an area, as well as offer suggestions on how BAC could maximize their chances of success when entering the Rochester pharmacy market. We'll start off by shortly explaining the methodology behind our analysis. As you can see on the flowchart here, we started off by cleaning the dataset. This included dropping columns that we thought were not usable and fixing data types. Then we did some exploratory data analysis using Power BI to find any obvious trends and patterns. This was an iterative process that we repeated many times until we were confident that we could proceed with the actual data analysis using Python. Our final conclusions were informed by our data analysis, the secondary data we scraped from the web, and the secondary research that we carried out. Moreover, we decided to scrape demographic data of zipdatamaps.com to bolster our analysis. We did this because knowing about the demographics in a zip code would help us find correlations between the average profitability of a zip code and demographic factors in that zip code, which can help us suggest the best location for BAC to expand its operations. I will now pass it over to Harshit to speak about what predicts the current and future success of a business in an area.
Thank you. Right. So the very first pieces of information that we had to understand was how the zip codes stacked up against each other in terms of profitability. So what we did was we summed up the total profit per zip code and then divided that by the number of stores in that zip code to find the average profit per zip code. Well, as you can see on the bar graph, zip code 14618 performed exceptionally better. In fact, the zip code was almost 12 times as profitable as the average or mean zip code profitability. Right, so this is just the previous bar graph, but on a bird's eye view, you can really understand how much more profitable 14618 really is when compared to its neighbors. So coming back to the data we scraped off of zipdatamaps.com, we formed a correlation matrix, as you can see on the right, and we can see that some of the demographic metric has a strong correlation with average profitability on the last rank. So for example, average gross income had a 60% positive correlation. School test performance had positive 34% correlation. Median household income had positive 26% correlation, and unemployment rates had a negative 26% correlation. Now, how does that zip code, the best performing zip code, rank in terms of these demographic data? So we see that 14618 ranks first when it comes to average gross income. It ranks fourth on school test performance and median household income, and it ranks pretty low in unemployment rates. So we conclude that 14618 is the best place for BAC to start its expansion process. Now, as to how we would go on with it, Ferdinand will explain the build or to buy strategy.
As to whether it's better for BAC to buy or build a struggling store is a bit of an open-ended question because we don't have all the information needed to reliably answer that question. For example, we don't know what the individual shops in the dataset cost, how much money BAC is willing to spend on building the new shop or buying a new one, or how long BAC is willing to initially incur losses if it means it'll be profitable in the long run. Therefore, we'll analyze the shops and how well they do relative to each other and work backwards from that into an actionable solution. Looking at the profits of the shops, it is evident that shop number 2663, Wegmans, was the most profitable shop by far. It is roughly 5.5 times more profitable than the average shop. It was one of the two shops in the zip code 14618 that we talked about previously. The other shop in that zip code was shop number 4641, which is CVS 592. I'll be focusing on CVS 592 for the most part, as we think that is the best choice to buy. It's in the 14618 zip code, and even though it isn't struggling necessarily, it's in the 61st percentile of profits. We do think we can look into it a bit more. So what you're seeing right here is called the kernel density plot. This is the probabilities of the total profits of the entire profits in the data set. Looking at the plot, we can see that CVS 592 is making 3 standard deviations below the mean in terms of profit, which means that 95% of the total profits that could be made are left on the table. On the those changes can be, like if they make changes, they can access those 95% of the profits. On the topic of making changes, it is evident that one of CVS 592's greatest weaknesses is that it has a limited product portfolio. It didn't sell a single one of the top 500 profitable products in the data set on the time period that we analyzed. Those 500 profitable products were responsible for 83% of all profits, even though being responsible only for 30% of the entire data set. Moreover, there's reason to believe that it might not actually be possible to help CVS 952 much in this regard. That is because the size of a shop has a 70% correlation with the number of unique products it can carry. And given that the profits are correlated by 62% with the number of unique products a shop has, having numerous unique products is to the advantage of the shop. CVS 592 is a small pharmacy. It is within the 25th percentile of the size of shops. And we don't think its product portfolio can be expanded all that much. Furthermore, you can see that, like looking at the time series plot over here, the green lines is the top 500 products being sold in the 14618 zip code. And the red line is the sales of CVS 592. It's insignificant compared to the top 500 products. And they didn't sell any of those. So there's a lot of profit left on the table for them. So after that, we're gonna have to look at the trade-offs between buying a pharmacy and building a pharmacy for BAC. The reasons to buy are that the initial cost is lower and it's easier to forecast future data because they can look back at historical sales data. The reasons to build are that zip code 14618 is an excellent location and the only viable choice in that location, which is CVS 592, is not very promising. It's not clear that the problems that CVS 592 is facing can be fixed because it's a very small shop and its product portfolio is limited, which is what we think is tied to the size of the shop. However, if you build a shop and address those issues, we do think there's significant profits to be made. BAC is a large corporation and can bear the larger initial cost in order to cash in on the profits in the long term. Moreover, the population in the Rochester area is growing and there is potential for a new pharmacy in the area rather than just an old one being improved. So I'll pass it over to Jen to talk about the conclusion.
So after this entire process of exploring, analyzing and visualizing the data, we have come to a conclusion. So our team recommends BAC to build a shop in the zip code 14618. Zip code 14618 is the most profitable zip code in the area. It ranks highly among the metrics that are strongly correlated with the zip code success. And the existing struggling store that we compared earlier performs much worse than it should, based on probabilistic measures. It is not obvious if the things that make the shop unprofitable can be fixed. 14618 zip code has less than the average number of shops per square mile compared to its neighbors. Therefore, one more shop wouldn't crowd out existing shops. The market is expanding and could facilitate more pharmacies. So on behalf of our team, thank you. We're eager to answer any questions that you have for us.
Hi, this is Andrew. I've got one question. You showed a chart, looked like a histogram, basically with an arrow pointing to the store CVS 592. How did you narrow that down?
Do you mean this one, the profits by shop?
No, I believe it's slide 14.
Slide 14. This
one? Maybe.
No, that was the slide 10. Yeah. So it kind of looks like there's, I realized you were focusing in on a certain zip code there, but how did you, once you were in that zip code, narrow it down to that one store?
The zip code that we focused on only had 2 stores, which was shop number 2633 and shop number 4641.
Okay.
So since I turned my attention to 4641, I'm just pointing out it in the histogram, but this is all the shops in the data set, not only in the zip code, because that zip code only has 2 shops.
So that's essentially the second most profitable shop in that zip code. Is that right?
It is the second shop and the second most profitable because they're on
the only other, right? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim, I have a question. I'm wondering, given that zip code and the population fluctuating relative to when school is in season, did you look at seasonality at all in terms of site location, permanent residents versus more that are sort of transitory, or any effect on profitability?
If I can show you my screen, I'll bring it up. We didn't include it in the slide, but when we did the analysis, we looked at the sales on a month by month. I'll just open it up. On a month by month basis. And to me, it doesn't look like there's any clear pattern of seasonality. Like some winter months, there's a lot of sales. In some summer months, there's a lot of sale. Like I'm assuming the Rochester region has 4 seasons, like winter, fall, summer, and spring. So I can't see any clear pattern in that.
Boy, does it ever.
Right.
Thank you. That's great. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I like that. I'm also curious, what other things did you look at that, or did you consider that proved they were not as useful as you thought they might be?
It's mainly the probability thing that the other zip code is making so much. I mean, the other shop, like 263, is making so much profits, and it's in the best zip code there is. Like the chances that this shop itself is doing so much worse than other shops, it's not that high.
I think Andrew's question is, are there other factors similar to seasonality that you looked at but concluded was not, that those factors were not significant in your analysis?
Like, do you mean for the CVS 592 shop? Like,
no, just any elements, any data points that you might, or I'm sorry, Andrew, if I'm mischaracterizing your question, but
no,
are there any factors that you looked at that you decided similar to that seasonality? Okay, well, we've looked at it, but it doesn't necessarily impact our reasoning.
Not necessarily. Like most of the factors we looked at, we included in our slide. Like we tried to fit that into our final decision. Like for example, with seasonality, we looked at that, but we didn't see any pattern strong enough to include. So that's what I can say about that.
So I have a question on some of the correlations. I found the correlation data to be quite interesting, correlations with other factors. School test performance, for example, was that also drawn from that secondary data set, the zip data maps? Are all of those other elements drawn from that secondary data set?
All the data is from zip data maps.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Like I scraped the data and correlated with the average profit per zip code.
Was all of your data cleansing and transformations done using Python as well?
Yeah, like we did like 3 steps. Like first we cleaned the data in Python, then we explored it a bit using Power BI, and then the heavy analysis was back to Python. So it was a mix of both, but mostly Python.
I have a quick question. Could you go back to slide 10 for a minute?
Yeah.
So taking a look at the store at the end, I think it's 2633, and looking at its relative total profits compared to all the stores, my question goes along this line. Why did you not kick that out during data cleaning? What led you to believe that that store, the data you're showing, was correct and not some anomaly in the data as you were rationalizing the data?
Because like even in the real world, we see that sometimes some shops and some businesses are significantly better than other shops. Like,
okay,
if I come up with an example on the top of my head, like McDonald's does better than almost all other fast food places. So like for me, I don't really know much about the market to say, is this shop really that good, like this Wegmans, or is it just an anomaly?
Yeah, I believe your challenge is because you can't see what the items are they're selling. You only see numbers.
Right.
It leads you don't have enough data to sort of make that conclusion. If you saw what they were selling, you'd probably understand why there's such an anomaly. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is Manlu. I have a question. So again, I also agree that correlation is very interesting. So this is just for discussion. I wonder if your team also look at the trend of the online ordering issue. Let's see if the online ordering the trend is increasing. Will this trend affect this the number of the correlation here?
Like, do you mean the number of sales? Like,
if you go to the correlation that yes, this one. So we talk about, let's say, the average gross income and the school test performance. So this is really closely related to the people where live in this area, and they go to this store to purchase things. Now, if we take the consideration of the online ordering, then there's a possibility that they can order the things across the different areas, not necessarily in this area. So have you, when you do this analysis, have you taken this factor into consideration in the future, probably?
If I can answer this, we did not take this as a factor.
That's fine,
But
yeah.
we can assume that these positive correlations also correlate with the online selling factor. So that would be also a positive factor. I mean, these correlations, demographic factors, will also be positive correlation with the average online sales, because if a household has more income, it has more test performance, school test performance, better one, and more adjusted gross income, they will buy more online. This is just my assume, but I mean, if we would go with that calculation, I think this will be pretty similar. So it would not be that much of an important factor.
Okay, thank you.
I can add a bit to what Jen said, but like from our analysis, like we can assume that things mostly went online during mid 2020 to 2021. And when we look at the sales figures, like comparing from 2018 to 2020 or 2021, the sales figures did not change all that much. Like it was quite similar. Now we can assume that like, okay, it might have been a bit more because of the pandemic and a bit less because people are going out. But like when we looked at the numbers, we saw it stayed mostly the same. And like Jen said, that if people have more money to spend, they'll either spend it online or what do you call, like on retail. So the correlation still hold for the most part.
Okay.
Only the location of that can be built at a cheaper place, if that's the case. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions from our judges? No? All right. Well, thank you, Team 2. Round of applause for them. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. And we will move on to our third team here. So I will reshare. All right, so meeting our third team. First is Ansel Ahmad, recent grad from RIT here in Rochester and majoring in supply chain management at MIS. He's currently working at ITT Gold's Pumps in Seneca Falls, New York, and will pursue master's degree in global supply chain management this fall. And in his free time, he enjoys to run, bike, and play ultimate frisbee and hike. Wow, fully active. Thank you. And next, Anna Loso, she also a recent grad this past May from Saunders and MIS. She was an intern this summer with TJX companies as an IT engineer. Anna will also be returning to RIT for her MBA this fall. And outside of school, she likes playing basketball and weightlifting as well. Thank you, Anna. And finally, Nathan Parker, rising fourth-year MIS student, currently a business analyst intern at IBM. Although it's virtual, he's excited to present for this competition as the framework could be insightful for future work. And his extracurricular activities include member of the RIT varsity wrestling team, watching movies, and playing sports with friends. Thank you, Nathan. So whenever you guys are ready, please feel free to share your screen and take it away.
Sounds good. Thank you, Danny.
Yep.
All right. Just want to confirm you can see my screen all right?
Yep, all tight, Ansel.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right. Good morning to those joining us from the US. Good afternoon and good evening to those joining us from Europe and Asia. All beginning our group started presenting BAC Inc. Pharmacy's expansion into Rochester. So this is what we're going to be going over in our presentation today. First, we just wanted to briefly introduce ourselves. Thank you, Danny. And my name's Ansel.
Hi, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Anna.
So our team also wanted to provide a little bit of background and insight into this case. Although it's the same for all groups, we wanted to show you guys what we focused on in our presentation and our analysis. So BAC Inc. Pharmacy performed exceptionally well during COVID-19, so now they're looking to expand, and they chose Rochester as their place to expand. They're originally from New York City, and they wanted to expand to Rochester, and that's the place that they're going to go. We're going to help them make that decision. In Rochester, there's 10 different product areas that they could focus on. And within this business space, there's some well-known players like Wegmans, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, and Rite Aid. And then there's also some smaller one-off stores as well. So now within this business space, BAC has a few options. They could buy an existing failing store, they could build their own store, or is there another option? Maybe that's kind of hinting at our solution. Ultimately, our goal as consultants is to provide BAC Inc. with the right information so they can successfully expand into Rochester. I also wanted to highlight the data sets a little bit. These were the same for all groups, but how we focused on them was most likely different. So the first data set is pharmacy data. This was a listing of 130 pharmacies in the Rochester area, unique by store location. So this means the Wegmans in West Henrietta and the Wegmans in Pittsford have different entries in this data set. They're not just the Wegmans organization. The second data set we were given was transactional data. We were given 9 years of transactional or sales data spanning from 2012 to 2020. And these were the two data sets that we used in our analysis. We did not use any additional data sets. And before we could analyze this data, we had to clean it up and transform it a little bit. So the first thing we found was incomplete data in both data sets. The first being the pharmacy data table. We noticed that 61 of 130 of these stores had no store ID, and I'll explain why this is important in a few seconds. But in the transaction data set, we noticed that 2020 was incomplete. It only had data up until Q3. So everything you see going forward, our team focused on 2018 and 2019. We felt these were the most relevant years, and we excluded 2020 just because of the incomplete sales data. There are a few other things we fixed, like incorrect calculations and inconsistent data. For the sales calculation, originally, sales was not equal to units sold times price. So if we were to summarize with the initial data, we would have gotten incorrect sales data. We fixed this and updated that field in our data set. Second, we updated organization name. So originally, there was listings for Rite Aid and Walgreens that were incorrect. So Rite Aid was listed as Rite Aid and Rite Aid of New York, and Walgreens was listed as Walgreens Co. and Walgreens Co. with a period at the end. The reason this is an issue, if our team tried to summarize based on organization name, we would see a split in the sales for Rite Aid and Rite Aid of New York. By consolidating these names, we're able to accurately summarize sales based on organization. The last thing we did was we joined our data set on store ID. So this is critical because this allowed us to combine both the pharmacy and the transactional data set into one data set, meaning we could map sales to specific stores. And as I alluded to before, 61 of the 130 stores had no store ID. Because of this, we had to omit 61 stores from our analysis. So everything you see going forward in the data analysis is 69 stores that had the store ID and data for 2018 and 2019, with the exception of the forecasting we did, which contained all years. I'm now going to pass it off to Anna, who will talk about the data analysis that we did.
Hello, everyone. All right, so to get started for the data analysis, we first wanted to see which category of items was selling the most in the Rochester region. And again, as Ansel mentioned, this is just based off of the 2018 and 2019 data. We used Tableau to visualize the data. We quickly found that the leading category in terms of units sold was over-the-counter medicine and vitamins, followed by skincare, and then personal hygiene products. This information was necessary in order to have an understanding of what categories were selling successfully, and this also provide us insight as to what might be considered for the product mix down the road. After gaining this information of which category of products were the top sellers, we filtered our data down to the top 5 categories, and the following analyses are based on what we called the desired commodities. So for sales by store, we wanted to break down the sales by store for like each unique organization within the Rochester region. The 6 stores from the data set with the highest amount of sales in 2018 and 2019 were Wegmans, Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, and Rite Aid. Wegmans was a leader in sales by nearly 17 million compared to Walmart, who had the second highest sales with roughly 3 million. For the sales margins by store, one of the questions that we needed to look into in order to complete our analysis was, what are the specific success factors behind these top organizations? This calculation we did with the data set to find margin per unit sold for each organization was done by subtracting the product cost from the product retail price. We found that the stores were in the same rankings as they were for sales, with Wegmans being the leader. Margins are important for us to consider because a company that has good margins and high sales are going to be generating a lot of revenues. So for the sales data forecast, we understand that looking at the historical data is important and provides us with great insights to help find the best course of action to recommend for BAC Inc. However, we also want to be forward-looking and see what is in the future forecast for the upcoming years. Using Tableau's forecasting feature, we are able to see how the sales data is predicted to change through the rest of 2021 and into 2022. Wegmans is forecasted to continue increasing and continuing to be the overall leader in sales. Sales margin per unit forecast. Similar to the sales forecast, we were interested in seeing what kind of trends would happen with the sales margin per unit through the rest of 2021 and into 2022. The Tableau forecasting tool predicts that Wegmans margins will continue to increase and continue to lead the competition in margins per unit. So overall, after conducting analysis of these data, we found that the trend was that Wegmans has been dominating the Rochester region and has a promising future according to sales forecasts. And with that, I'll be passing it along to Nathan to discuss our recommendations for BAC Inc.
Thank you, Anna. So it's clear to see from all the data analysis that she did is that Wegmans is the best in the Rochester region, and there's very little room for competing. So our next step was to discover how we could collaborate. See, although Wegmans dominates the market, they do not dominate their aisles. Think of the last time you walked into a Wegmans pharmacy aisle. There's aspirin, cold and flu medicine, moisturizer, and deodorant, the whole 9 yards. All of it from different brands, not bearing the Wegmans name. That is because the Wegmans brand of pharmaceutical products are not even theirs. They're only the member owner of Top Care, or a member owner of Top Care, an Illinois pharmaceutical producer. And it works like this. Top Care is owned by Topco, an LLC that is owned by member companies like Wegmans and Walgreens that buy into the company so they can get discounts on products like pharmaceutical products from their collective buying power, creating economies of scale to make obtaining pharmaceuticals cheaper. It's called a group purchasing organization, or GPO for short. Now, Wegmans has stated that the packaging commitments to rebrand Top Care at their stores would not be worth the cost and would limit Top Care's option and potential as the low-cost option for any and all sellers at Wegmans. But why am I telling you all this? Because it's this very circumstance is BAC Inc.'s ticket into the Rochester pharmaceutical market. BAC Pharmaceuticals can be the higher quality option and aim to be the biggest Wegmans pharmaceutical brand. When we look back at that Wegmans pharmacy aisle, the Top Care items were always there and some other low-cost options, but there are no Wegmans products or anything considered a high-quality option that is exclusively in Wegmans stores. So although Wegmans and their pharmacy is synonymous with Rochester, BAC Inc. can compete by becoming synonymous with Wegmans Pharmacy. Now, what products will we sell? Well, We found 3 categories of products that best suit BAC Inc. and the Wegmans pharmacy environment: over-the-counter drugs and vitamins, skincare products, and personal hygiene products. Firstly, BAC Inc. is primarily a pharmaceutical company, so we wanted to provide a number of options within the products that BAC Inc. specializes in. No nutritional items or food items that are auxiliary pharmaceutical products. We wanted to focus on what BAC Inc. is best at. It is also supported by the data too, referencing Anna's data analysis here, where OTC and vitamins are the highest in units sold, and skincare and personal hygiene are the next highest. And so although it appears obvious what BAC Inc. should do, we're not quite complete because we can also look into what items they should sell. Here are a set of fantastic tables provided by Ansel, which are the top 25 items by sales in dollars, units sold, and margin. Of these, we are primarily going to look at dollar and units sold as opposed to margin, because margin is dominated by OTC and vitamins, and we want to provide BAC a product mix and not just a singular product category. Looking at the first of these charts, unit sales here, we need our product mix to be within the top 25 in this chart right over here. And the same in dollar sales, which is the next chart. And we want a sale margin higher than 3 in both of these. We chose these parameters because BAC Inc. needs products that make money and appeal to higher class customers with a higher margin and have enough of a group of people willing to buy these products that they be willing to pay for a new brand like BAC Inc. Now within the data, we see that most of them are OTC and vitamins, including on the last table, but there's also a fair mix of personal hygiene products and one skincare product that we picked out that is in both tables, because if you look at the item number for this table and then for the next table, you'll notice that it's all the same that we've highlighted here. And here on the next slide is our suggested product mix. If we can pull that up, with 4 OTC and vitamin products, 3 personal hygiene products, and 1 skincare product for a solid mix of both. And later we will provide this to BAC Inc. And speaking of later, we can also forecast how well these products will sell in the future. And you can see, although there is a wide variation with this slide on the OTC and vitamins products, the next slide with personal hygiene products, and on the next slide with skincare products, either the Tableau forecasting tool is projecting that the sales will remain stable or increase as time goes on. And now I'll pass it over to Ansel with the conclusion.
Thank you, Nathan. So to summarize, I presented how we prepared our data for the analysis. Anna then shared with you the 10 product categories and how over-the-counter skincare and personal hygiene were the top areas. Nathan also mentioned that because BAC Inc. is a pharmacy, and by narrowing down the scope to pharmaceutical products, we don't need BAC Inc. to expand their product mix into something they're unfamiliar with. Second, Anna showed the stores in Rochester and why and how Wegmans was the top selling store. And if you're from Rochester, this should not come as a surprise. Because of this, we don't want to compete against Wegmans, and we don't want to have BAC Inc. spend a large capital expenditure on buying a failing store or building their own. So, as Nathan presented, our solution is to become a preferred seller for Wegmans, and as Nathan also showed, bring them a specific product mix focusing on pharmaceutical products that would allow them to expand into the Rochester area successfully. Thank you very much. And are there any questions?
Hi, this is Andrew again. How did you guys choose your primary key when you were joining the data set?
So within the pharmacy table, I can actually pull it up in R and I can show you. So within the pharmacy table, we have our store number here, and this is what we refer to as our store ID. And in the sales pharmacy table, you have the store number as well. So this is how we combine the data sets there. And as I mentioned, because in the pharmacy data set, there were 61 stores with no store ID available, we were not able to include those in our analysis. I hope that answered your question.
Yep,
So,
thank you.
So a quick follow-up that, since you sort of have a segue there, Ansel,
Sure.
You said you eliminated 61 stores because you didn't have the ID, and the remaining stores were 69, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
So do you have any concern that you basically, do you have a sense of actually the total data set that was removed, since it was roughly half of stores were removed? Is what percentage of the entire data set was that was
actually
sort of
that's a great question, and the answer is 0%. So when we joined our data set, or when we eliminated these, the number of observations that were eliminated from the data set was 0. So when we joined the data set, our 999,000 observations stayed the same, meaning there were no stores that we were missing out on. So ultimately, with the data sets we were provided, there was no actual sales data for those stores with no ID.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question, if I may, on your product mix, where you took, I think it was, let me see there, hold on, slide maybe 21. When you took a look at this and it showed that the largest category was over-the-counter drugs and medications, just because of looking at the sales difference of Wegmans versus its competitors, were food categories even in this data set, or were they eliminated?
So we eliminated food categories from the data set because we didn't want to give BAC Inc. products and product mixes that they wouldn't be able to do anything with, being a pharmaceutical company. So we took them out for our analysis, because if we did have it in, then food would be much higher. I don't know if we have any of those former ones where we did actually have food, because we eliminated them so early in the process because we knew we wanted to focus on pharmaceutical products.
Very good. So what you're showing then in terms of Wegmans sales are truly, it is an apples to apples comparison against their competitors.
Yes.
With this data set. Great. Okay.
That's correct. Yes.
I wish our sales were that good, actually.
Like Nathan said, we eliminated food early on for all competitors, so we're comparing apples to apples here. Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I have a follow-up question on this slide. So did the same for, let's see, the bar chart fourth from the left, is that photography?
Yes, photography.
That's correct
was
there. So
can you tell us a little bit about keeping that one in?
So we eliminated food from here because food was far and above the best. So by eliminating that, we narrowed down what we're looking at, so it's not food skyrocketing above everything, and then focusing on this. So
gotcha.
Yep. But all the analysis that you see in these data tables and what Anna presented with forecasting was only the 3 categories of over-the-counter, personal hygiene, and skincare.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, of course.
Good. Hi, this is Manlu. I have a quick question. So your team might mention this in your presentation already, if I miss it. So you use the data from 2018 to 2019. So what is the rationale for you to pick this 1 year data to conduct analysis?
Right. So we picked 2018 and 2019 because these were the most relevant data. So we could focus on this small time frame. So instead of looking from 2012 all the way to 2019, and for we eliminated 2020 because of the incomplete data. And when we saw sales rising, we saw that it was constantly rising. So we just selected those 2 years as our focus data set.
Okay.
Was there incomplete data for prior to 2018? Like why eliminate a full 5 years?
I do understand what you're asking. For 2012, there was some errors, but for the other years, there were no errors. We just focused on those years because they were the most recent.
Except for with the forecasting, we did include all of the other years except for 2012, so that we could, so that Tableau could have more for its forecasting analysis to be done. Because I think with just 2 years, it wouldn't have been able to do the forecasting.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Any additional questions?
All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Thank you, team 3. All right. So last but not least, let's move on to our final team here. All right. Loading, okay. And introducing our final team, our duo here, Spencer Tanny, senior in MIS, minoring in business analytics and economics, BCP data and analytics intern at Caterpillar, and he's pursuing a career in business intelligence. And his teammate, Jordan Keel, a 2021 RIT grad in computational mathematics and minors in economics and computer science. So whenever you guys are ready, feel free to share your screen, and let's end on a high note here.
Let's see. Let me know if you can see the presentation.
Yep, you guys are all set.
You see your presentation.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, then I had to lose my presentation notes. Oh, a second. I'm having some issues. Are you still able to see presenter view?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to fix that. Actually, Jordan.
It was in. We were seeing the presentation view only a second ago.
A second ago.
Yeah. I would say.
You want me to share?
If you swap.
Yeah, Jordan, if you want to share, that would make it easier.
Yeah. Now we're only seeing.
Yeah, I'll just have Jordan share actually.
You gotta stop first. Spencer, you have to stop sharing first.
Let's see.
I think we're running ahead of schedule, so don't stress.
There, it took me a while to find the stop share button.
We can take a second to figure it out.
Okay, there we go.
Can you see now? Okay, Spencer.
Yeah, I can see it. All right. My name is Spencer Tanny.
I'm Jordan Keel.
And this is our presentation for the BA Sync and our recommendations for entering the Rochester market. Next slide, please. So first, we'll do a very brief overview of the case. BAC is a pharmaceutical company looking to expand into the Rochester area, and they're guided by 3 questions. What makes a pharmacy successful? Should BAC take over an existing pharmacy or build a new one? And what product categories should be sold? So our structure for the presentation is we'll take a look at the Rochester area demographics. We'll then take a look at the sales data to determine the best performing product categories as well as the stores. We'll conduct a brief SWOT analysis of the options, and then we'll finish with our recommendation for BAC's course of action.
So initially, we wanted to look at the Rochester area to select particular areas that we thought were either highly profitable or had high volume of sales. So immediately from these 2 maps, we see that there are 2 zip codes that stand out. As you can see on the right, this red one is 14618, and the bright yellow is 14616. And on the left, you can see all of the stores that have store numbers shaded by the zip code they're in. So this pinkish cluster of 3 stores by Brighton, that is 14618. And then the purplish cluster up near Charlotte, that's the zip code 14616. So after finding these 2 zip codes as having the highest volume of sales, we wanted to determine why and also which one is a better choice for our product. placement. So after looking at the median household income of these two zip codes, we found that 14616 more closely matched the Monroe County median household income, which we thought was important as BAC would like to see how their product does in the greater Rochester area, not necessarily in the most profitable area. Additionally, to that end, we looked at the age distribution. And you can see here, 14618 has a very large 10 to 19 population. And we think that that's because it's a high family suburb. And so that's all of the children from all the different families. Additionally, we saw that both of these counties had similar ages, median ages, to Monroe County as a whole. So they both work as selections as where to focus our store.
So since we decided to focus on 14616, we decided to take a look at the product categories and how they performed respectively within that zip code. So as you can see from the graphic, OTC/VMS was a majority of the sales at Wegmans and at CVS as well. And second place was skincare items, followed by personal hygiene. And sales are important, but profit is what keeps a business in business. And as you can see, the profit categories that sell well are still returning profits and they aren't operating at a loss. This is a visualization of the estimated market share within zip code 14616. I will note that the top sales is excluded from this visualization because it wasn't provided. However, we did some additional research and determined that Tops had a revenue of $2.5 billion in 2019 over 169 stores. Compared to Wegmans, they had a revenue of $9.7 billion over 106 stores in 2019. So based off these numbers, Tops likely doesn't have a significant market share in 14616 and overall sales or in OTC/VMS sales, as there's only one Tops store in the region. And then we believe that we like to dub it the Wegmans effect. We believe that the Wegmans pharmacy far outsold its competitors due to a combination of factors, the first of which is consumer convenience. Consumers want to reduce the number of trips to the store. By offering groceries in close proximity to a pharmacy, Wegmans provides their customers exactly that. Additionally, we believe that within the Rochester region, we believe that customers have strong brand loyalty to Wegmans. And then Instacart and DoorDash are just further services that push Wegmans a bit ahead of the competition. In terms of pharmacies as a whole and success, we believe that a population above 25,000 and with a solid age distribution between 10 to 19 and 50 to 69 are beneficial to a pharmacy's success. There is also a strong correlation between the population where 50% is a college graduate.
So next we looked at whether purchasing an existing pharmacy or building a new pharmacy would be the better option for BAC. The benefits of purchasing an existing pharmacy is it's already established as a pharmacy within the community. So there's lower advertising costs getting your name out into the community. There's existing management, which can help with product choice and placement as they know the community and area better and what products sell and how quickly they sell and the enthusiasm of the customers. Additionally, there's no build cost or delay with purchasing an existing pharmacy. Once the pharmacy is purchased and you can start putting your products in place, you can start selling soon after. The negatives would be that you only have so many locations where pre-existing pharmacies are. And after that fact, you have to get rid of or sell the existing product that's already in the store. Additionally, just as it's kind of a benefit that the pharmacy is already established, if the pharmacy was already established and had a poor reputation within the neighborhood for one reason or another, that would also be a factor you would have to deal with when you introduce yourself to the community. From building from scratch, you have some choice of location, not a lot, and you have the choice of layout, which is important. If BAC wants to focus on selling their own goods, having a choice of layout could mean that they have an entire section only focused on their own goods, and they can try and push those onto customers before other goods. The cons of building from scratch are largely the building cost and building time. While the building is being built, you can't sell your products, which is lost time and revenue. Additionally, if you build a pharmacy from scratch, you'll have to advertise its placement and get people to come in.
So in addition to those two options, we would like to present a third alternative or business to business. This option is the most financially conservative as it mitigates risk. If the trend of e-commerce and delivery rises and consumers visit brick and mortar stores less and less, the capital investment required to either build a store or purchase an existing one can result in a significant loss. Additionally, selling BAC's products through a store allow them to utilize existing brand recognition and their market strength. Wegmans consumers traffic will naturally bring in customers and awareness to BAC's products. BAC already needs to consider how to break into the market with their product. They don't need to worry about breaking into the market as a store. Lastly, BAC won't need to hire too many additional personnel to staff to work on B2B. The company will likely need to hire a few additional people to manage logistics for shipping products, but they won't need as many people as compared to building their own store or purchasing an existing one. So our recommendation is split into two parts, or a two-part plan. Short term, we strongly suggest that BAC prioritize getting into the Wegmans in 14616. Shelf space in a popular store can be a premium, so BAC can consider strategies such as increased retailer margins or royalty on each product. We also highly recommend BAC develop e-commerce, either through launching a website or through encouraging Wegmans to sell their products online. According to Adobe, Americans are projected to spend $1 trillion in online shopping in 2020 and 2022. And just this year, consumers have already spent 34% more online as compared to the same time frame from last year. In terms of the other stores, CSV and Rite Aid would be helpful for getting BAC's brand recognition out, but ultimately not necessary. Getting BAC products into Wegmans should be the #1 priority due to their market strength. Long term, or around 3 to 5 years, BAC should consider trends, sales, and growth. If their products have been selling well, then BAC should look to expand into other Wegmans and other zip codes. In addition, if brick and mortar stores have become the norm for consumers and they're not preferring e-commerce as much, we would also recommend BAC take over an existing store in 14616. For the products within the store, we would model ours after the CVS sales. We chose not to model after Wegmans since BAC would not have the same grocery offerings in close proximity. As such, we would want to focus on the 3 highest selling categories, which are the OTC/VMS, skincare, and personal hygiene. For a specific breakdown, we would recommend a product mix of 5% beauty items, 5% diet and nutrition, 1% food and beverage, 3% household, 39% OTC/VMS, 10% personal hygiene, and 4% seasonal, and 33% skincare. These visualizations are the top vendors who have the most number of items in the product category at the lowest value. As such, we would recommend working with vendors 260, 65, 370, and 434 in getting products into their store. We also plan on modeling our pricing close to CVS. Most of their product category prices were below Wegmans, which we will follow as well. However, for OTC/VMS, BAC is a pharmaceutical producer. BAC can lower the prices of their OTS/VMC products in a BAC pharmacy by utilizing their comparative advantage as a manufacturer. This should draw customers to the BAC brand and hopefully convert them to a repeat purchaser. That concludes our recommendation. We'd be happy to take any questions.
Yes, I have one. Could you go back to your original recommendation slide? I just want to be sure I got that correct. So in the short term, you're suggesting selling products, become a vendor for Wegmans and possibly some other stores. Long term, what do you mean by expansion into other Wegmans? What are you trying to get across there?
So short term, we're only recommending you get into 1 Wegmans or the 2 Wegmans in 14616. Long term, if you enjoy some sales in that location, then I would highly recommend looking into expanding into other Wegmans locations across Rochester.
Got it. Thank you. I didn't pick that up. Thank you.
And our choice for 14616 was how it mimics the greater Rochester area.
Hi, this is Andrew again. Can you talk a little bit more about the assumption for choosing CVS for pricing strategy and product makeup as opposed to Wegmans?
Yeah, so as you saw more with some of the other groups' graphics, Wegmans far outsells any other store. And we think this is one due to the Wegmans effect, but also you get different goods. Like if you have to go to a pharmacy, you might get certain goods that are necessities, whereas there are goods that you might buy at Wegmans that are just, oh, I'm here, I need to pick this up on my way, but you wouldn't make an extra trip for those goods necessarily. Like toothpaste is an example I think of. It's not, you don't need it right today, probably.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Sean. I have a follow-up question. Can you go back to the vendor breakdown slide? It's near the end. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah. I was just a little bit confused because the colors change with the vendors. Is the color just attached to rank within segment?
Yes, it's only attached to each pie chart. Each pie chart has their own individual legend.
Okay, so like 65, even though it seems to be second for two segments, it's then fourth for the third segment. I see.
Yeah, I just chose orange for the largest, white for the second biggest.
Got it. Okay.
Are there any other questions?
If there's an opening, I would like to ask another question. When you go back to some of the front end, were there particular factors that you saw in the data set as sort of the most significant that really jumped out at you in terms of driving your recommendations?
The first of which was, Jordan, if you want to scroll back to the map, we first wanted to look at sales because we wanted to look at the market size.
Top line.
Yeah, and determine that. We also noticed that, as the other group mentioned, that some of the store names were broken down. Like if I remember right, it said CVS dash a number. So we had to standardize that to make sure everything was clean. In terms of that, there was also an item number where it was returning negative profit, but I wasn't sure if that had a major issue on it. In the overall analysis, it didn't play a big role, but that was also just another data cleaning issue we saw.
And then the overall success of Wegmans was the big reason why we think business to business is the best way to start out.
I know you're using Power BI for visualization. How about the analysis piece? Was that all conducted within query, or did you use something like R or Python?
I used R to do some of the data cleaning, create some additional columns, and then I exported that to Power BI.
Hi, this is Manlu. So I have a question. So let's say if you can get more factors in the data set, what will be the factors that you would like to get to help you to do the further analysis or to support your conclusion?
Within the sales data, I would have really liked to see the inventory of each item because it only puts the unit they sold. But if we know the inventory, then we know whether an item is selling or not and how much we actually need to buy rather than just the unit sold. I think that would be extremely helpful. Also just the demographics of each purchase maybe, as well as consumer ID to learn more about what type of consumer buys each product.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, then thank you, Team 4. All right, Professor Bowie, I know we are quite ahead of schedule, and by quite ahead, I mean probably 45, 50 minutes ahead of schedule. So
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's never a bad thing to run ahead of schedule.
Exactly. So Professor Bowie, I'll turn it back over to you.
So since we are ahead in terms of schedules, I think the judges can now head to the private rooms hosted by Sean to discuss on the result we can take a quick break for 5 or 10 minutes, and then the attendees are welcome to come back at that time, and we have a few quizzes and small games that we can play for prizes. Actually, let's take 15 minutes. So why don't the attendees join us back at 11:45? Then Danny will have a few small quizzes and fun games while we're waiting for the judges to finish the discussions. Then at noon, 12 o'clock, then hopefully by then the judges will finish and we can start the award ceremonies right away. At the moment, I also invite all of the teams joining the individuals link sent to you for separate interviews.
Yeah, so I reached out to each of our volunteers. I think 3 of the 4 of them answered and confirmed they're good to go right now because we're ahead of schedule. I think it caught them a bit off guard. So I think the one volunteer for Ansel's group has not responded yet, but we do have a backup person. So I think we're going to go ahead with the backup person just so we can move along here. So I will get that information right now.
Okay, judges, come on over to the judges room.
John, do we get like 5 minutes break before?
Yeah, we will. I'm gonna open up the room and then we can take a little break. Sure.
Sure.
And
so
Danny,
attendees, stay tuned and come back at 11:45.
Danny, you can email me the link to the new meeting room if you want, because I noticed John's link is like his personal meeting link.
Yeah, so John hasn't responded yet because we did tell everyone come around noon. So we're we said ahead of schedule. So your team will be joining Rosanna Hyde's, one of our e-board members' links, and she is sending the link over to me right now, and I'll forward it to you.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Danny, do we have confirmations for? So you said you have 2 rooms open for interviews.
3 or 4 rooms should be open right now, and I'm sending over Ansel's team the 4th, and then we should be good to go.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So I leave it to you then.
Yep, I got it. Thank you, Professor.
One more question.
Go ahead, Dren.
When will we join the interview room, or do we have a break?
Yes, so after the interviews, you can have a break. It should be very short interviews.
Okay.
So I just go ahead, Professor. Sorry.
Danny, once we have all of the interviews and the teams sent to the groups, maybe you can put up the background slide with the intermissions so people would know. And if you don't mind, edit it so that people know that they can, they should come back at 11:45.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Danny. We got it. We're gonna head over there now.
All right, beautiful. All right. For everyone else that's still in the room here, you guys should head over to your respective Zoom rooms. Professor Bowie, I don't know if you're still on, but do all the finalists have links to their interview links?
They should, it's in the, what is that, the agendas.
Right. So everyone being your interviewer should be in their rooms already. So whenever you guys are ready, you guys can choose a respective links and head on over there. It shouldn't take too long for the interview questions. So
Jinan, Sudan, the Chinese team, do you guys have the link?
No, we haven't. We cannot find the agenda.
Okay, let me find that and put that in the chat for you. Let's see. So the link that I put in is for the Chinese team. Please enjoy that. And then Hashit, do you have the link?
Yeah, I'm just joining.
Okay, all right. So you have to leave this one and then join the other one.
All right, looks like people are exiting.
And then Danny, jump to the intermission and ask people to come back at 11:45.
Yep. So we will resume in about 10-15 minutes here. So everyone come back. We'll do a intermission quiz when everyone is back, and we'll proceed with the award ceremony right after. So thank you everyone for being patient, our attendees. Zulong, can you hear me? I don't know if you already joined the interview link, but you should be over at your interview link right now with the rest of your team for team 1.
we finished the interview. Can we stay here?
Yeah, you're all good. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So when will the other part begin?
Yeah, so we're gonna give it about 5 more minutes for everyone else to wrap up their interviews, and the judges are also discussing right now. So in about 5, 6
Okay.
minutes, we'll come back together.
Okay.
Yep. Just hang tight for now. Thank you. All right, it's now 11:45, so I see some people starting to trickle back in here. So I think our judges are still taking a few more minutes, which is fine. So thank you everyone for being patient. But in the meantime, we're gonna do a little intermission quiz here before our judges come back. So finalists should all be back here now. I think most of us are back. I think one interview may be still going on, so we'll wait for them here.
While we're waiting for a couple more people to coming back, I'm going to put a link to a survey in the chat. Would really appreciate everyone to fill it out. This is the first time we organize a competition, so any feedback that you can provide it, that would be greatly appreciated. Let me see if I can find a link in here. Then you also put the link in the PowerPoint, so you can also see that if you have a QR code, you can scan that. The link for the survey also put in the chat, so if you want to click on that, that also work. It should take you about 5 minutes while we're waiting. It's a great thing to do while we wait. So Danny, look like we have more people coming back from the break.
Yep.
So we can start the small game, and then I think the judges should be finished very soon.
Yep, sounds good. So finalists and audience members, please feel free to participate in this just short quiz we have that's based around Professor Bui put together about some analytics trivia. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the poll. So it's very easy, just vote using the Zoom poll, and then we can go through each question together here. So first we'll use this practice question. So Molly will launch this poll. Can everyone see the poll? Good.
Yep.
All right, so I see some people already started voting. So question is, majoring in computational finance or business analytics at Saunders qualifies international graduates for what special visa extension? All right, we got 9 votes out of, we got half votes in. Give it a little bit more time here. Not sure if everyone's on, but all right, 10:20, give it a little bit more time if anyone would like to join in. All right, I think we're gonna stay at the vote count here. So 10 people here. So it looks like most people chose the first option, H1B. So the correct answer is actually STEM OPT, optional practical training. And fun fact about STEM OPT is that that visa extension is good for an additional 24 months in additional to the original 12. So thank you guys for participating in that. And now we'll actually launch the actual quiz. That was just our practice there. So I will relaunch our next quiz. And can you guys all see this? This will be a series of just 5 short questions, and you can vote for all of them, and then we'll go through them together at the end. So the first question here is number 1, who coined the term bit for computers, define exploratory data analysis, and develop the statistics box plot? So is it first option, John Tukey, Alan Turing, Richard Box, or Edward David Alexander? Please use the poll to vote, and we'll go through all of them one by one here. All right, we got 1 vote in. All right, 3 votes. If you don't know it, take your best guess. Give it another 10 seconds here. I see judges coming back. See, some of you guys have gone on to the next one, so I'll start reading the next ones as well. So number 2, analytics, or the division of logic that distinguishes good from bad arguments, can be traced back to what Latin word? There's number 2, and I see some of you guys have answered that. Question number 3, the world's first Internet of Things device was connected at University of Pennsylvania, Cornell University, MIT, or Carnegie Mellon University. Number 4, name the 19th century woman who first described how a computer could follow a series of simple instructions to perform complex calculations. And finally, question 5 here. The term regression was first developed to describe a blank phenomenon, economic, statistics, or biological. So I see we got a decent amount of votes here, and we'll give it 10, 15 more seconds before we look at the right answers, as I see our judges are back, so that is great. And we'll proceed with the award ceremony right after here. All right, any last second participants? And I'll end the poll. So question number 1, the correct answer would be John Tukey, and it seems like the majority did answer that correctly, so kudos to everyone there. And likewise, for question number 2, the correct answer would be Analytica. Question 3, Carnegie Mellon University. Number 4, Ada Lovelace. That one was more mixed answers across the board. There's maybe a tricky one. And last but not least, number 5, statistics. Also pretty even spread for the answer choices. So thank you everyone for participating at our fun little quiz there. And I will stop sharing the poll and hand it back over to Professor Bowie.
Thank you, Danny. So look like the judges are back. Are you guys ready with the result?
We are. I think one question I had, Neo, is how do you want me to communicate any of our, I know we have different people queued up to do announcements for the different levels, and we have feedback to offer all the teams. I will say first, the judges really appreciated all the work of all the teams and your great effort at really engaging with the data and pursuing this exploration. It was really a great effort all across.
So I think as you announce each of the teams, then you can provide a little bit more feedback on what the judges think. Let's see. Now Jackie is here. Let me see. Jackie, are you here? Can you test your mic? See if we can hear you.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you. Son, what
I
is the
was
best
doing
way-
the quiz and I didn't do very well.
That's why you have to take the business analytics class, Jackie. Son, what is the best way to communicate the result to Jackie?
Well, I can send it to her in the text. And can I confirm with our agenda that I would be announcing third place?
Yes. So we start with you first, and then Manlu, and then Jackie.
Manlu would do second place. And okay. Well, maybe I'll send it to the panel. If I send it to all panelists, no one off the panel can see, correct?
No, because the team also in the panel list.
Okay, okay.
So we want to keep it a little bit suspense for them.
Got it.
So the send, you can, I think you can send a direct message to Jackie.
I will do that.
Professor Bouet, just a quick question here. Is our first team back? Our team from the China campus? I don't see them. I don't see any of the members in here.
Well, let's see if we can get them back, and that'll give me a chance to
Yeah, I don't
to
see any of
communicate.
them here.
Yeah, I believe all the other three teams are back in full with all their members, so it's just the one team.
It's going to be challenging time for them because it's midnight in China.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they work with us in the moment. So let me see. Let me see if I can send them an email. Oh, I see them now. I see Sudong and Sudong, if you don't mind to send a text to your friends asking them to join us back for the award ceremony. We're going to start very soon. Probably because I told everyone that we're going to start the award ceremony at noon, so we're a little bit early in terms of the schedule. That's why. So while we're waiting for them to come back, it's a great time to put the link for the survey in the chat for the panelists and attendees to fill out. This is help us to collect the feedback regarding the competitions. This is our first time organize this competition, and we really hope to build on this to have this become an ongoing integrated part of Saunders in the future. So any feedback you can provide would be greatly appreciated, as we can surely learn from this experience and improve for future competitions. Let me see.
Well, and as we wait for once the group comes back, Neo, I'm thinking about this. What might make sense in terms of offering some feedback to each of the groups is if I just, before we do the announcements, if I just go through each team and offer some of the reflections of the judges. Does that work?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I think that would work well. So go ahead, Son.
Okay. Do we have enough of?
Maybe you can save the Chinese team for the last, since they're
Okay.
not on here yet.
Okay, so I'll do team one last.
Yeah.
I have to go back to my little notes. Team two, the judges really felt the technical analysis of the team was really strong. We thought your responsiveness to questions was good, and the ability to pull up some additional data in response to some of the questions from the panel was greatly appreciated. We thought the focus on the neighborhoods and trying to get insight about what was going on within the neighborhoods was really effective. We thought the flow of your business logic was strong. I should say I'm going to be repetitive because we thought everyone did a great job and some of these decisions were really hard. So across the board, great job. Team 3, so this is Amana Loso Parker team. The judges really appreciated the polish and professionalism of the presentation. We also thought that you did a particularly good job of data cleansing and transformation, sort of exploring what elements of the data needed to be worked on a little bit before going forward and choosing what data to focus on. Team 4, Tanny and Kyle team. We thought you also had very, very strong sort of professional polish and presentation. Your team was very effective in responding to the questions that came from the panel and also good at clarifying assumptions that went into your data analysis, and the specificity of recommendations that you came forward with was really strong. And then team 1, judges really appreciated the fact that you gave multiple options, right? That you sort of were offering flexibility to your audience and not just focusing on one particular route, but a hierarchy of recommendations. That you offered strong assessment of the regional factors, demographic characteristics within the region, and we appreciated the idea that you really let the data drive your conclusions. So again, across the board, we really enjoyed all of the analyses and the insights that you generated. So round of applause for everyone real quick. And you tell me when we're ready to go with third place.
Yeah, so Sean, I believe every teams are now here, so we are ready for the award ceremony. So take it away.
Great. In third place, okay. Do I need to send this to you, Neo, to add to anything?
You can announce it, and then Danny can edit the PowerPoint in real time to update the PowerPoint. Right,
okay. All right. In third place is team 4, Tanny and Kyle and Tanny team. Again, really enjoyed your analysis and really thought the recommendations were strong, and that we commented with a number of the teams, but certainly with your team, that we would be very comfortable sort of putting you in front of a boardroom to drive your analysis. So congratulations.
I'll make the edits after, just in case the presentation over here.
Oh, okay. We just move on then. Let's go with the second place.
So before I announce the second place, I would like to congratulate all teams. You did awesome job. And I also would like to see if any of you have interest to learn more about our master program in business analytics. Feel free to reach to us. We have both residential program and on-site program and online program. So the second place is the team of Fading, Hansen, Hasit, Kuma, and Dren Gara. Congratulations, good job.
Thank you.
Did we lose Jackie?
Yeah, for first place, I think Dean Jackie Masral will present the award.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Well, I would also like to add my thanks and congratulations. First and foremost, I want to thank the faculty as well as Danny for really getting this first annual international competition off the ground. This and it's international because we certainly have touched people across the globe from our different campuses. So to make this happen, I know was a significant undertaking. So I want to thank all of you for your efforts, Manlu, Sean, Neo, and Danny. I think this is just great. And it's such a wonderful learning experience for students to be engaged in these types of competitions. And then I certainly want to congratulate all the students that participated and hope that you had a wonderful experience and to be part of our first annual international competition. You're all trailblazers and you all deserve congratulations for participating. So I'm just so excited to see this get off the ground, and it'll just be the first of many. And it's really, I think, consistent with the brand and mission of Saunders College at RIT, and to really be a business school at the intersection of technology and business. What better competition to support than this business analytics competition, where you really need to apply your technical skills to help to solve and business problems and develop business solutions. So it's just great to see this happening. So with that, I have the honor to announce the first place team. And the first place team is team number 3. So Ansel, Anna, and Nathan. So Ansel Ahmad, Nathan Parker, and Anna Loso. Team 3, congratulations for your first place finish.
Thank you
so much.
Again, great job to all the teams. We were as a judging panel. I also want to do a quick thanks to our industry judges. You guys were great. Andrew Ward, Mike Della, Porta, Mark Rausch, all 3 of you did a great job, and thank you for taking this time on a Saturday morning to participate in this great event.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Great time.
And also, just to echo Dean Jackie Mazero's words, thank you all the judges, all of our participants, and I also want to give a special shout out to some of our business and technology professional members who helped out and conducted the interview. So I think some of them are actually on the call right now. So thank you to John Grinthal, Chase McKelvey, Rosanna Hyde, who's actually on our executive board, as well as Cedric Thomas, and Don Casa, who could not make it today, but he was willing and able to help out as needed as well. So thank you to the 5 of them, and thank you to everyone else. And we look forward to next year's annual competition.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
So at this point, a big round of applause to all of those who participate and help out the competitions.
Congratulations.
A wonderful achievement for us to have these first competitions, and we really hoping that we can see you in the next competitions. Again, please fill out the survey so we can get your thought on how to improve for the future competitions. At this point, we would invite all 4 teams joining back the interviewers on the separate Zoom link to get their thought on the competitions. And after that, you can join me in the Zoom link for any final thought. And then at this point, we wish you guys a happy summers, and hopefully and wish you a happy Father's Day for those of you who
Happy Father's Day to Professor Bowie, his very first Father's Day.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next competition. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks.